Feeling pretty good about it. It's the last little bit of coffee. Today we're going to explore listing out what files and folders are inside of our current working directory. We're going to explore deleting files and folders, and we're going to even touch on creating a new file. Seeing these commands over and over again, seeing how I'm using them on my computer, really help you to become aware over why we're doing this. That eventual pain of needing to get our code that we will eventually write onto a server or onto a computer somewhere else means that we have to better understand how the file system works. If our deliverable, if the thing we end with is a piece of code in a file, and a server, a computer somewhere else, needs to have that file, at some level, we have to understand how the computer is moving a file from one place to another. This is called an integration point. It's when we have one thing, it needs to go somewhere else, it needs to integrate, it needs to connect at some point. All of these manual steps that we're using command line for will eventually teach our servers how to do. We'll have these step-by-step instructions for our servers to follow in order to get the code that we wrote on our computers into a server, into the cloud. But in order to do it most effectively, we have to understand these principles of typing into a terminal, into command line, and manipulating things and changing the way things work. All right, I'm ready. 3 main topics with command line: ls, rm, and touch. You make a new file. So we have a folder, and this folder is called Documents. This folder has 3 other folders: Work, Personal, and Other. If we want to see what's inside of each one of these folders, we can change directory. So cd, which is change directory, and then ls, which you can think of it standing for list. So if we were to have a first step where, to double check, we type pwd, which prints our current working directory, and it gives us something along the lines of /documents. Might be a little longer than that, but it'll at least let us know that if the last thing in the list is documents, we're in the right place. And our second step is ls. The output will be work / personal / and other /. This will tell us what's inside of it. Much like when you're inside of Finder or you're navigating as you're used to, you'll see graphical representations of these. Here, we'll only see text. This is kind of our way to peer into or use our site for what's going on, in case your mental model isn't quite clear yet. So if we were to change directory into work and then ls, we'll see something different. Our output this time will be whatever's inside of work will be output here. File A, file 2, and file 3. You should see these in one line, and that should be our output. Again, this is a very necessary command line skill in order to understand where we are at any given point. So we're inside of Documents, and if we perform the command ls, we will then see Other, Personal, and Work. And now if we were to perform a change directory command into work / we will now be inside of work, where we'll see file A, file 2, and file 3. This is based off of what we did yesterday So there are some assumptions inside of here. But again, the ls command is so that we can list out, we can see what files and folders might exist inside of there. Now that we're inside of the work folder, and it has the 3 files, file A, file 2, and file 3, let's say we need to delete both file 2 and file 3. We can use a command called rm. So our first command will be to rm space and what we would like to delete. A lot of these commands follow the same pattern. The first part is the command we're trying to run, and then there's a space, and then what we want to modify. And in this case, it will first be file 2. There unfortunately will not be any output or feedback that this worked, but we'll go ahead and move on to rm, again, what we want to do, and then what we want to affect, which will be file 3. Now, if we perform ls, we do get output with this command, and it should just read file A. We're using ls to see through text output what has happened inside of this folder. And we're verifying that we deleted file 2 and file 3, and now there's just file A. It's as though we have done this. It's just file A. Now, if we wanted to create one new file and call it file B, we're continuing down a different path at work. The command to do this is touch. So again, it's the same pattern as before. It's what we want to do. It's the command. What to modify. We'll be modifying something that doesn't exist yet called file B. So what we can do to ensure we successfully did this is type ls. And there should be output for this, or there'll definitely be output for this command, and it should read file A and space file B. So let's check that out. We're inside of work. I'll ls to see that I do indeed have these 3 files in here, and I no longer want them. So the next command I'll use is rm file 2. See, there's no feedback here. I can ls to see that, oh, file 2 no longer exists. Now I will rm file 3 and ls. You can see now I have only one file in here. Using the touch command, I can type touch file B. Again, no feedback. In order to see what we've done, we ls, and now I can see file A and file B. Extended on what we had learned before to start to understand it a little bit deeper. Keep in mind, I use these skills every single day being a product developer. These not only are skills that you use down the line to deploy or finish your work, but they're skills that help you every inch of the way. In day 3, we're going to get even deeper into command line. We're going to modify files and change text inside of them. Each of these days are going to build on top of one another until you're truly aware of most of the skills needed to be a successful product developer. These are completely based on my own experience of the things I use every day, every week. And I can't wait to see what you're capable of at the end of the 100 days. This coffee's pretty cold.